A year ago, we used the image of two people taking the bus. They're both standing on the bus, and they're both holding on to the railings. And the first person not only is holding, but is also on his cell phone. And so, because the road is straight and it's very smooth, he just holds on lightly. But as soon as a curve comes up, he loses his balance and he falls. He's got this minor injury, and the rest of his day is harder. Now, the second person is also hanging on, but she looks ahead. She anticipates what's coming. She sees the curve. So as soon as the curve comes, she holds on more tightly to the railing. She braces herself, no fall, no injury, and her day continues as normal. And so for most of us, December is going to have some curves. Okay, so things that might cause us to trip. So a few of them, like there's lots of activities to go to, probably too many. This is the darkest time of the year. For some of us, that really weighs us down, okay? There's this unhealthy expectation to buy gifts, to buy things. Not good. And finally, there are going to be probably some family gatherings we don't want to go to because it's really awkward. Okay. So to prevent us from falling, Jesus wants us to spiritually anticipate what's coming and then hold on to him. Now, 3 times today, he says, beware, keep alert, therefore keep awake, and finally keep awake. Gee, I wonder what he's telling us today. Now, to be spiritually awake means to be focused on Jesus. So right now we want to realize, okay, I'm focused on Jesus. Where is he trying to bless me? It's December. Now that's not a big deal for Jesus, but because it's Advent, he wants to give us more blessings. He wants us to prepare for his coming. Now here's the thing, we've mentioned this before. Jesus wants to give us more blessings than we want to receive. His desire to give us good things outweighs our desire to receive them. Now, right away, once we're aware of that, okay, Jesus is trying to bless me this Advent, this December. He's trying to bless me right now. Okay, so now I'm attuned. Okay, so first point we're going to ponder is that he's going to use temptation to help us grow. Now, when things are going well in life, that's good. Thank God. Let's rejoice. Just realize it will not last, right? Good times don't last. God will use the bad times to help us grow. Now that we're aware of that, be prepared in the next few weeks or even right now. Just be prepared to be discouraged, okay? Be prepared. You might feel overwhelmed. Be prepared, you might even feel away from God. So now that I've said that, I hope no one says in a few weeks, oh, I didn't expect that. Now we expect it. Now that we're ready, how are we going to respond? What are you going to do? How are we going to hold on to Jesus more tightly? And the 3 things I just suggest is, how are you going to hold on to Jesus through prayer, through proper rest, and then through like really good relationships, holy relationships? Just leave that with you to think about. Okay, second point to ponder. In a very short parable, Jesus speaks about a man going on a journey. And that, of course, refers to his ascension into heaven. And then he says that each person is given his or her particular task. Now, the particular task refers to our mission in life. You've got a specific mission that's given to no other. I've got mine. Now, because of that, that means you can't have it all. This December, you cannot do it all. And so you must choose. So let's say you're a student. If this is final exam time right now, you cannot expect to do everything you normally want to do and still do well in your exams. That's impossible. That's not your mission. You're going to have to give up doing the things you like. Your mission right now is to do the best you possibly can on your exams. Now, let's say we're a disciple. We have to say no to some people because people are going to make demands on us that are not from Jesus. Doesn't mean they're bad. Jesus wants you to learn to grow in courage. We're not here to please other people. We're here to please Jesus. So you have to say no to some people with love, very gently, kindly. So we are going to make sacrifices this December, but we're not going to give up our prayer. I've reminded now all of us who are Catholic here, we have to go to Mass every Sunday, and we're not going to miss Mass to study for exams. And we also have to go to Mass on December 25th, Christmas, and January 1st. We also don't want to skip confession. What are we going to skip? We're going to have to skip things like social media, because really, when you add up cumulatively all the time we spend on social media, all those little chunks of day where we waste time, we're eating up a lot of time. You got to get rid of that. So that's a sacrifice. We also will not give up evangelization. So if you go shopping, you want to be cheerful, not like that miserable shopper that we all see. You want to be cheerful. You want to be loving other people. When you talk to them, you're going to be really polite. You're going to smile, and then you're going to say, is there anything I can pray for you for? So we can't do it all. We have our particular mission, so we must choose. The Holy Spirit will guide us, so let's ask His help. And finally, in the parable, Jesus says, "You do not know when the master of the house will come, in the evening, or at midnight, or at cockcrow, or at dawn, or else he may find you asleep when he suddenly comes." Now, interestingly, did you see there are 4 watches there? They call them watches. Not that watch. 4 times periods of the day. Now, we hear 3 of those 4 watches on Palm Sunday. We're going to hear it in March. So first, it says, "So the disciples set out and went to the city, and they prepared the Passover meal. When it was evening, he came with the 12. 2, at that moment, the cock crowed for the second time. Then Peter remembered that Jesus had said to him, 'Before the cock crows twice, you will deny me 3 times.' And third, as soon as it was morning, they bound Jesus, led him away, and handed him over to Pilate." Now, the one watch that is not mentioned is midnight, and that's when the disciples fall asleep. That's when Jesus is arrested, and here's the point. They did not know when the temptation would come. They did not understand how it would come. So they didn't understand that Jesus would use suffering to overcome our sins. So that leads to our third point to ponder. Do you know how your faith is going to be tested? You remember last week, we showed the video of Daniel Chung. He got baptized. It's beautiful. It's so happy, so joyful. And Daniel said in the video that he fell in the shower and he was on the ground for about 15 minutes. Now, question we want to reflect on. When Daniel was suffering and everything was really bad in that moment, was he close to Jesus? Think about it. Just think. And the reason why I want to think about it is because he had faith, he was trusting in Jesus when he was on the ground and he was calling out to him. Because he had faith, that meant he's close to Jesus. Now, why do I say that? Because a lot of times what we do is we say, man, everything's so bad in my life right now. So many things are frustrating me, etc., etc. Therefore, I'm far away from God. No, stop that. Just because you're suffering doesn't mean you're far away from God. If you have faith, that means you're close to Him. So Daniel gave me permission to share. He was a professional soccer player back in Hong Kong when he was younger. And so when everything in his life was going really well, and from the outside, was he close to Jesus? Yeah, he wasn't. He said he wasn't. Why? Because he had no faith. So if December right now is really good for you, that's great. I'm happy. Doesn't mean you're close to God. Let's say that your December right now has already started off really badly. That doesn't mean you're far from God. If you have faith, you're close. Now, sometimes when people they say to me, I feel far away from God. I'll say, do you want to be close to Him? And they'll say, yes, I want to be close to Him. That means you're close. Because only someone who is close to Jesus wants to be closer to Him. Now, last week when we did our Christ the King challenge, we circled which of the diagrams best represents our relationship with Jesus. So 281 of us said we've made Jesus the center of our life. That's good. And by the way, thanks everyone for being really honest. That's so good. Everyone was honest. Some people said, no, this is good. Now, 215 of us said we want Jesus to be the center of our life. That's good. Why? Because if you want Him to be the center of your life, that means you're close to Him. So build on that. eventually you want to seal the deal. You want to keep on moving closer to Jesus so you make him the center of your life. So think about things like Alpha, faith studies in the upcoming year. So let's now summarize. We've started Advent. We're on a spiritual bus. We're standing and we're holding on to the railings. The first thing we see is that there's a curve coming up in the road. So we're going to hold on more tightly to prayer and rest and relationships. And second, because Jesus has given me a particular mission, I can't do it all. So I'm just going to do a few things, the best things. And third, we're going to focus less on emotions. We're going to stop judging our relationship with Jesus by how we feel. We're going to focus more on faith. Do you have faith? If you do, that means you have love. So if we do all these things, we will not fall. And even if we don't feel close to Jesus, the fact is we will be close to him.